Welcome back again. Today, we're going to have some fun exploring the exemption principle. The influencer of the principle of exemption has by far got to be one of the funnest influencers I've run into. It's basically designed as a type of reverse psychology because some people simply believe that they are the exception to the rule. For example, if you tell a customer a program ends this month, someone who's influenced by the exemption principle will say, no, it'll probably get extended, maybe even get better. And you say back, well, actually, I'm pretty sure they're getting worse and the rates are actually going up and the rebates are actually dwindling. But this type of customer will still insist, yeah, but they'll probably turn around soon and start giving bigger rebates. Have you had a customer or a conversation like this before? Well, I've been there too, and it can be frustrating to work with this customer if you try to use the wrong influencer with them. I'll show you a way to approach them so that you can actually influence them. The exemption principle is the opposite of the scarcity principle. So if you have a buyer who thinks they are the exception, using scarcity-based language will not work on them. With this customer, you basically need to play the opposite. So if you want them to go left, you need to suggest that they go right, and then they're likely to go left. But if you say, please turn left here, they're going to say, no, that's okay, I just want to go right this time. You see, they're wired that way. Let's look at a couple of practical examples of how this plays out when you're talking to a customer. The classic scenario is when the customer says, I'm going to think about it and I'll let you know in a couple of days. Now, if up until now they've already been contrary on other things, then you know you're dealing with an exemption person. Well, the old way to approach the scenario would be to typically say something like, well, between now and then the car will probably sell, and wouldn't you want to put at least a deposit on it to hold it so you don't lose the car you really like? That's scarcity. Well, we've all been down that road when the customer responds, well, you know, if the car's not here when I come back, then maybe it's just not meant to be. And hearing that always drives salespeople crazy. So what I do is I reverse it on the customer and I say something like this. You know, the chances of this car selling between now and then are actually pretty low. I don't think it'll happen. I mean, out of the 300 or 400 cars we have on the lot, I don't think somebody's going to come in and buy the exact same car you looked at. Could it happen? Sure. But I don't think it will. After all, if it does happen and we have to start all over again, that's okay with me. The bottom line is, if the car you looked at today isn't here in 2 or 3 days, maybe it's just not meant to be. Now, once you deliver that line, you must excuse yourself and let that thought marinate in the mind of the customer. Get up and say you need to check on something and walk away. If you have a situation with a customer who is an exemption principle customer and you say the car won't sell, they start thinking, but what if it does? If you tell them the chances are really small, they wonder, well, what if somebody else wants it and buys it? And they start talking themselves into doing it. Why? Because they are the exception. If you say it won't sell, they think it will. Now, when I come back in a few minutes, all I do is say this. So what do you think our best course of action should be? And most of the time, if you have an exemption customer, they're going to say back, well, is there anything we can do to make sure that it is here? Can we put some sort of deposit or something like that? Now, they'll re-engage you in the process because now they have an elevated fear of loss. Once that happens, you simply say, you know, I've never had anyone ask for a deposit on a car that they really don't want to buy. It sounds like you want the car and it sounds like it's the right choice, so let's go ahead and do business. Ask for the sale. So this is how you could use exemption principle when it applies. Now, we have actually covered all 8 major influencers of behavior. Remember that you have to learn what is influencing your customer already so that you can use that to increase your influence over them. It's not about manipulating, but it's really about appreciating where the customer's coming from. With all 8 of these influencers, what we've gone over so far, you've learned that different things influence different people. Your job is to identify who you're dealing with so you can sell through psychology. Before you sign off, let's go ahead and take our final chapter test.